Hello again, it's Netta aka Sarge and welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video I am going to be showing you probably the best trap to play against someone who plays a d4. And I've used this quite a lot. It's a really cool trap and I think you should know, and I would definitely recommend it for people who are trying to get to 1,000 on chess.com. One of the main reasons that I would recommend it is because many people don't know what they're doing at around the 900-1000 level. So this trap will be really good to play. And this is episode 3 of the Chess with Sarge series. So if you haven't seen my other 2 episodes, they will be in the description and I will recommend them up the top of the video. But for now, let's take a look at the trap. So the trap begins when white plays d4. And when white plays d4, usually you would see something like maybe knight f6 or d5, something equal, gaining space in the center. But we play e5, which is a very interesting move. And you say, well, Sarge, why can't we just, what happens if we just take? It's a free pawn. Well, if you take, we are going to pressurize you. And this is why the engine doesn't like taking. The engine actually recommends that you either play a Danish, or, the engine actually recommends that you play a Danish, in which I will probably do a video on soon, but it doesn't recommend you take. Some people will push, and that's completely fine for you just to take the pawn. So, but we're looking at what happens if they take, and a lot of people will. They'll think you blundered, gave them a free pawn, or something like that. But what we are going to do is we are going to bring out our knight to attack this pawn. Now, if they defend with a pawn, which no one is going to do, maybe if they're really bad they might do that, but if they do that, you should be winning this game anyway, easily. They should never move this pawn because of checks like this, and they should also, it frees up the king, so that's one of the main reasons. And just bringing a pawn is just not efficient because there's other ways to do it, such as the knight, and especially the f pawn. This is the only pawn they can do. It opens up the king, no good for them. What we're looking at is if they bring out the bishop or the knight. Now, most people bring out the knight first, and then what we do is a very interesting, very aggressive move, queen e7. And what this does is saying, okay, well, I'm going to take the pawn, I don't care whether you push the knight. And what the knight here does is it stops the f pawn from going up. So what happens is the bishop has to come out now. That's pretty much the only way to defend it. I mean, unless you count this, but for obvious reasons, that's not a way to defend it. But if they want to hold on to this pawn, they've got to play bishop f4. And what we do here is we deliver a check. And what this does, it hits the king, hits the bishop, and it hits the rook. Now, this is really good for you for many reasons. And first of all, there's several different lines of this. The first being the bishop here. If they just block with the knight, we are not going to take this bishop, which I'll explain about later. If they do anything else, such as block with queen, then we take with pawn. We take the pawn here. They block with this knight, then we take the bishop, and they block with the bishop, then we take the. And the main line is the best move. Is to block with the bishop here, but lots of people will play this. And if they play this, they know what they're doing. Now you don't want to take the bishop here. If you do take the bishop, you're either going to be losing a rook or your queen, and this is not a really good trade. Let's see what happens if we take the bishop. So we take the bishop. Our opponent might not know what they're doing. They'll just maybe play something like e3 or something. But if they do know what they're doing, they will do this move, knight to d5. And what this does is it hits the queen and it hits the rook. And it's actually impossible for the queen or the queen to defend um, this pawn, the c pawn. So after something like this, we're going to lose our rook. And it's actually better for white here. So we do not want to take the bishop after they play knight to block the check. Instead, we're going to take the pawn. And we're up a pawn. We're not up a pawn. We just regained that pawn. It's not that bad for us. We're fine. We're completely fine here. Now we're going to look at what happens if the bishop blocks. So the bishop blocks, then we take the pawn, attacking the rook. Now let's see what happens after this, because there's a lot of serious lines that will help us in some situations, even win the queen. Now going back to this position, if white blocks with this, then we take the rook. I mean, we don't take the rook, sorry, we take the pawn. And now it's very hard for white to save the rook. The only logical move would be to do this, offering a queen trade. But then we hit with bishop b4 and it's bye bye queen. So that's one way you can win the queen using this trap. If he blocks with the bishop, then we just take the pawn again. Let's say he moves the bishop here and tries to stop us from taking and attack the queen at the same time. Not bad of a move, huh? It's really bad. In fact, it's one of the worst. We played this, bishop to b4 again. This time we're pinning the bishop to the king, so the bishop can't take. If the bishop takes, then we take back with our knight. And now we're threatening to fork the king of the rook and take the rook with our queen, so it's not very good for white here. If he plays queen e2, defending this bishop, then we take. We literally just take. Then if the queen takes, then it's checkmate. So the queen cannot take, so knight has to take, and then he loses the rook. It's really bad. The queen trade, we just take and accept the queen trade because we're up a lot of material. So that's the block with his knight. And yeah, it is really bad for white here. So this trap is actually really good to play against opponents that don't know what they're doing. If he blocks with the knight, then our position is terrible. Like, we haven't gained anything. Our position is like our material advantage is completely the same, but our development is way behind. So it's going to be hard to win it from here for black. So this is why I recommend that you don't play this against people who know what they're doing, because they will easily come back in this position and they will destroy you. Okay, so that's just about it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did like this video, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss another video. I am going to do another video on some other chess opening and traps, and I'm also going to do a video on how to play chess for beginners. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye!